Give the people what they want.
Jalen, we have a very special guest today.
We do.
Who's joining us on the program
We
right now?
have the leader of the new school, the head honcho of the Clutch Sports Group. His name is Mr. Rich Paul, joining the program. Thank you, family. We appreciate you being on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, a couple of things. You represent some of the top players in sports and entertainment. One of those guys, a guy named Anthony Davis, requested a trade from the Pelicans, and by some executives and media types was criticized by how it went down. What is your take of some of the fallout that happened from his request that ultimately led to him joining LeBron James with the Lakers?
Well, I think, to clarify, he stated his intentions, and his intentions were that basically, he felt his time was up, and he stated his intentions and felt like he wanted to do right by not only himself but the organization to be able to then make a decision and make sure that they made the right decision for themselves while also honoring, his intentions. That was seen different than what most would think, and in that it was taken a different way. But apparently what it looks like was he was just ahead of his time, because at that time the unpopular decision became popular this July, as we've seen guys pretty much move on who were under contract for multiple years to a destination that they wanted to be. They actually went in the office of executives, and I don't think that would be the norm going forward in our league, but it's okay in certain instances, and Anthony has a profound respect for Ms. Benson and the organization there. And as a man, he just felt like this was his time.
Rich, this summer everybody's talking about player empowerment. Were you in the mid-90s when everybody was taking from the Fab Five and owning stuff, and we didn't get a chance to own the black shoes, the black shots, we didn't trademark the long shorts? Now you got everybody talking about player empowerment. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think empowerment comes with another word, another E word, which is education. And the athlete has to be educated in order to empower himself. And it's not as if, it's like the players are taking over. No, it's a conversation. It's partner. We have great bodies of governance. I know they don't want to use the ownership no more in our league, but we have great, I'll use it for now, owners in our league in which you can have conversations with and understand and want you to be more than just a basketball player, and understand that today's player can now become a business due to social media. And so when you talk about the player empowerment, it's just, players are starting to educate themselves better. There's things that's more accessible to them, to understand what they can and cannot do, just like understanding the law out there as a citizen. And so for me, it's always been about educating the player, because they're people first, and they're only going to play this game for as long as God's willing to allow them to play. And athletes have to make their most important decisions at the youngest age, which is actually backwards when you think about life cycle. As you grow, as you become a man, as you go through things and have experiences, it allows you to make better decisions as you get older. For them, it's like we're coming in, we're young in our profession, and age don't matter. There's expectation, there's responsibility, there's accountability, and then there's money. And so you have to educate yourself, number one, in order to empower yourself. And the better educated the athlete is, the better our league will be, because then when you're sitting and having conversations with, the owner of your team, with your representation, you can have a conversation where everyone has a full understanding of what's going on. A lot of kids come out of college and I want my own shoe. Well, what's the sense of having your own shoe? I get that. There's a dream of ours. We all dream of having our own shoe. But having your own shoe is one thing. Building a business where your shoe actually sells and you create a royalty from that business that, like Penny, who's probably still getting the check right now, because of the impact that his brand had, that's the difference. If your shoe just sitting on the shelf and then you find it in the service center, that don't help you.
And I looked at the bottom of the ticker. I seen that Mr. Morris got an offer, 3 years, $40 million. Then I saw he had another offer, 2 years, $20 million. Then ultimately he ended up signing with the Knicks for 1 year, $15 million. But the ticker just says that he severed ways with you. So can you just kind of give us a snapshot of what took place there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it correctly. We had July 1, we had an offer, 3 years, $41 million, fully guaranteed, that we negotiated and advised him that this was a good offer to take. And ultimately he got on the phone with Lawrence and said that he was going to wait, and that he didn't want to take that, and then that's when they traded for
Lawrence Frank Clippers.
Yeah, that's when they traded for Mo Harkless. And once that happens, your market's going to drop down. And so then I was able to speak to the Spurs and talk about the possibilities there, and they said, well, it could be, but you have to we need to know, because there's some things we need to do. And so we correlated that and kind of mulled it over, and then ultimately, once this decision was made, and the biggest domino came off the board, he committed there, and they did some things. Once they got the verbal, they did some things, and ultimately, he changed his mind. And so, at the end of the day, like you said, things happen. You understand that. I understand the double standard that comes my way, and it's like this whole conspiracy. You see all these TV shows, and you see guys that are TV personalities, and they get on there and they talking about it. But I'm like,
he didn't want him to go to the Clippers because he didn't want to make it tougher on the Lakers and LeBron.
I'm like, that's the most absurd thing I ever heard. But again, they run with that, and I guess that's what gets the people talking and churning. But then as things started to unfold, and Marcus did an honorable thing, and so did Markieff. They kind of came out and said, hey, listen, guys, all those rumors and things like that are false. And so I respected them for that, and we still have dialogue. And so at the end of the day, as men, you are responsible for the decisions that you make. And he made a decision, and we had a conversation as men and decided to go our separate ways, and that's fine. That's in business, that happens sometime. But people go crazy and make this, we hate each other. No, it's not like that. It's just that I'm advising you to do something, you disagree with it, you understand that, hey, this business relationship is not going the way we would like it to go. And so as men, you communicate and decide, okay, well, this is not what's best for us, and we go our separate ways. And I'm okay with that. And that's what transpired. But all the other stuff, and again, I understand the double standard. So it's not like I'm like, I'm mulling over. No, I get it. But I do wish that there was a, number one, a respect to call and say, hey, I'm just letting you know what I'm hearing. I just want to have a conversation. Whether you decide to side with me one way or the other, that's up to you. but at least you had the respect enough and the professionalism to call and say, hey, I just want to hear this side. And then the other side is when you do hear that it's not true or the facts finally do come out, to also have the respect enough to get on that same platform that you use to talk down or to try to drive a specific narrative and say, you know what, guys, I was wrong. This is what took place. We reported it wrong. I was wrong. They're not going to say that. So I understand that, and that's just the business that we're in, but whatever. We move on. You know.
That's the way it goes. We moved on. A lot of NBA players moved on this summer, but you yourself, your career made a major change just last week. We'll talk about your partnership with UTA right after this.